Hi, I'm Jamie Noguchi, and this is Robots Punching! Ugh! Sadly, you're not watching this on Geek and Sundry. I was not the strip that they were searching for. No. But if years of watching Tokusatsu have taught me anything, it's that when you face a great defeat, you get up and you keep on fighting, because usually it's mid-season and you're about to get a suit upgrade. Where's the upgrade? So today I want to talk about something that is super awesome. If you've heard me rant and rave, mostly rant, about Tokusatsu in person or through the YouTube channel, you may be thinking to yourself, man, that sounds awesome! But there's something holding you back. I don't like subtitles. I don't like reading what I watch. I'm afraid of BitTorrent! Now I understand it can be a little bit difficult to get into this fandom, especially if you have to go hunting around for this stuff. But there's good news. Right now in theaters, there is a movie which I feel is a great primer on Tokusatsu and an excellent introduction to the genre. You could pause this right now. You could go to the theater, you buy a bunch of tickets, bring your family, bring your friends, bring all of your significant others, and you can watch this thing, and you don't have to wait to download or for a foreign release or anything like that. You don't have to do all the crappy waiting shit that the rest of us do who want to watch Robots Punching. You could go to the theaters right now and you can watch Pacific Rim, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Sorry, get just a little excited when I talk about this movie, which you could probably tell if you follow me on Twitter or know me in person. It's a little hard for me to contain my thoughts when I talk about this movie because I'm so excited about it. So I'm going to try to organize this into three basic sections: the plot, the characters, and the robots punching, which is my favorite part of this whole freaking thing. The trailers tell you the basic premise of the movie. There are these giant kaiju coming from this rift in the Pacific, and they're devastating coastal towns. And the only way mankind can defend itself is to build these giant friggin' robots called Jaegers. Now, unlike a mobile suit or an Eva or any of those other giant robots which require one pilot, a Jaeger is so massive it requires two pilots and a neural connection, because you don't want all sorts of switches and levers and things and pulleys to muck around with when a giant monster is beating your ass. You know, the best way to do it is to have some sort of neural interface where if you move your arm like this, the robot punches along with you so you can actually defend yourself and fight in real time. Well, the Jaegers are too massive for one person to handle all that neural input. There's just too many moving parts. So they developed a system where you have two pilots that are connected through the drift, like Tokyo Drift. It's basically Kamen Rider Double. Kamen Rider Double. If you're familiar with Kamen Rider Double, then you know how to pilot a Jaeger. Now hopefully this isn't too spoilery, but the bulk of the movie takes place at the tail end of the Kaiju War. The Kaiju have been here for a couple of years, and we've kicked many of their asses, but it's getting harder and harder and harder to fight them. Plus budget cuts, because always budget cuts! So it's kind of humanity's last stand, which I felt was a really great way of drawing you into the movie. Without getting too deep into the plot, because I feel like there are a lot of twists and turns and fun discoveries that you should really make on your own, and it's just fun to see things play out. I feel that every fight, every battle, every confrontation is earned in this movie. It's all impactful, it all has a meaning. Every fight means something. So often in these big budget effects films, we see battles and destruction that don't really mean anything. It's like fight porn or effects porn. And in Pacific Rim, everything builds upon the previous battle, so it just escalates into something that's awesome. It's really cool. You don't get to see that a lot in an action film. Fights don't always mean something, but here the fights really do mean a lot. They carry a lot of weight, and they help tell the story. It's awesome to have fights tell a story. The movie is told from the perspective of Raleigh, and he's supposed to be our viewpoint character. But when I watched the movie, I felt that the true hero of Pacific Rim was Mako Mori. And I have this long rant about why I feel that she is the true hero of Pacific Rim. So you could check that out here and then come back. Of all the characters that we meet and of all the Jaeger pilots that we see fighting, Mako is the one that has, I feel like a full hero arc. So we follow her journey from the beginning to the end, and it's really satisfying. It's a great payoff, and I love that she is really the hero that saves the day. She's awesome. She's just freaking awesome. Raleigh's cool, but I feel like Raleigh's done this before. Raleigh is sort of the veteran who's been brought back to help save us and all that kind of stuff. But he's done this before. He's fought kaiju before, and we don't really see too much growth in him. All of his growth comes from his interaction with Mako, which is freaking awesome. You don't get that often. One of the standout performances in the movie comes from Charlie Day, who you'll recognize from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And he plays this neurotic kaiju scientist who's trying to figure out everything there is to know about the kaiju. And he has this great rivalry with this other scientist played by Bern Gorman, who you might recognize from Torchwood. And the two of them just play so well off of each other. They have great chemistry. Like, there's part of me who wants to see maybe like a few featurettes just focusing on the two of them and their interactions with each other, trying to one-up each other. But following them throughout the film is a real treat, and it was a real surprise. You know, I thought it was just going to be monsters and robots punching, but there's this nice little subplot that follows along that's really integral to the overall scheme. So look for those two. They're a lot of fun. I think you'll really enjoy them. Idris Elba as Stacker Pentecost. Holy shit! I want Idris Elba to be in all the things. Like, he can make a shitty speech sound like the most amazing motivational thing you've ever heard in your entire life. And if you read it on paper, that whole canceling the apocalypse thing, that's some cheesy bullshit. That's fucking cheesy. You know that's cheesy. And he makes it sound like this is your last desperate hope. This is the fight that we must win. This is the thing that we must do to overcome everything. So amazing. So amazing. Of course, the reason I was first excited about this film is because robots punching. I never thought that we would have an American film, a live-action American film no less, that had giant robots doing things like elbow rocketto. I mean, there's a freaking rocket punch in this movie. Like freaking Mazinger Z, giant rocket punch. That's not a thing that I thought I would ever see from an American cinema. It's just absolutely great. And the best part is you can see all the fights. You can see what is going on. Unlike, you know, a Transformers or something like that, where you see all these Tinker Toys things and they're clashing, and it's really difficult to see which person is which, or which robot is the good guy or the bad guy, because you have all these weird jump cuts and it's all in your face and blah, blah, blah. The camera is nice and still. It's pulled back. You can actually see the kaiju and the robots fighting each other. You don't have to squint or pause a frame to make out which one is which. It's instantly recognizable. I mean, of course, you've got metal thing and scaly thing, so, you know, from a distance you can tell what's going on. But it really, the action scenes are filmed from a perspective of, hey, I want to see what the fuck is going on, instead of trying to artificially jump you into the fight with all this weird close-up, quick cutting bullshit. I hate that. I hate that. I really hate that. I hate that in my person action films, and I hate that in my giant robot action films. I want to see the fights. I don't need this jump cuts to get into it. I can get into it by watching this. And if you were in the theater with me, I was yelling and punching along because it was awesome. You could see things. It was great. I wish more action films were shot in this way. Now, I have to admit, the first time I saw a Jaeger in a trailer, I was not that impressed. Like, I have a specific aesthetic that I'm looking for when I see a giant robot, and it's heavily influenced by my love for Mobile Suit Gundam and RX-78 and all that kind of stuff. But as I've learned through watching a lot of Tokusatsu, you can never judge a suit or a robot or a monster by a photograph alone. You have to wait until you see it in motion, because there are some really terrible Kamen Rider designs out there that I absolutely love, because I've seen the show and I've seen the way they move. So it's the exact same thing with the Jaegers. Each Jaeger has its own unique look, and it's kind of bulky and it's kind of clunky, and from just a specific, from an aesthetic design point, it's not really my thing. But then you see them on screen, and you see them punching monsters, and it's amazing! I am absolutely in love with Gypsy Danger and Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha. They are great. I just want to hug them. They're so amazing. Just seeing them on screen punching things, It's really great. Now before I sign off, I want to address a few of the criticisms that I've heard from people. There are a group of people who say things like, that's just Transformers and Godzilla. Ugh. Oh my god, that's just like a live action Evangelion. Ugh. And? I'm not really hearing a negative here. I mean, wouldn't you want to see Transformers versus Godzilla? Like, I hate the Transformers movies, and I want to see Transformers versus Godzilla. Also, why would you not want to see a live action Evangelion movie? I mean, forget the fact that the Japanese can't even put Evangelion into one film, and that an American crew would just botch it. And honestly, it shouldn't be one film. But wouldn't you want to see giant Evangelions in live action punching angels? Like, what the hell? Get over yourselves and go see this movie, because it is none of those things, but it is also all of those things. I don't understand what is wrong with seeing giant robots punching. If you love giant robots punching, you should see this movie. Like, sure, it could look like an Evangelion or the Big O or any of these other things, but isn't that what you want? Don't you want to see awesome things? Like, get over yourself. Don't be a giant robot hipster. See Pacific Rim. You're gonna freaking love it. You're gonna absolutely love it. So just to close out before I continue this rant on forever and a day, I am super stupid excited that Japan gets to see Pacific Rim this week, because this is what's in theaters. You got the Kamen Rider movie, you've got the Super Sentai movie, which is a musical, and now you've got Pacific Rim coming out, and that's like a full day at the theater. You know, you take the kids to see Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, and the parents can see Pacific Rim, and you could just stay at the movie theater all day. Like, I wish I had bought tickets to Japan just to see the premiere of Pacific Rim, because they're marketing it so perfectly to Japan. The 14-second teaser focuses in on the Elbow Rocketto, and you've got the Japanese overdub. It's just amazing. It's great. So I love this movie. I think you'll love this movie, especially if you're looking for something new, if you're looking for something fun, if you're looking for a summer movie that just makes you feel good. Pacific Rim is the answer. And especially if you want to learn about Tokusatsu, but you don't necessarily want to try to hunt it down, this is a great introduction that you don't have to do too much except go and buy tickets. So go out there, go see this movie. You're gonna friggin' love it. I love it. Oh, and one more thing. A friend of mine, Ross Nover, created this amazing chart to figure out your Jaeger name. You basically take the last adjective you tweeted with the town that you grew up in, and that is your Jaeger name. And then for your special attack, you take the month that you were born in plus the last body part that you injured. So for me, and mine sounds pretty lame, but you would get Amazing Bethesda, and my and my finishing move would be Rocket Toe, because toes are stinky and deadly. So check out the chart. I'll link it up in the show notes, and then in the comment field, please tell me your Jaeger name and your finishing move, and then we can set up our own coastal defense force. Thank you for watching, and I'll check you next time. Bye.